Hello, everybody. It's Andy Lopez. Thank you for listening to my show. Don't panic, it's organic. Today we start the workshop, a year-long workshop. Today we talked about mycelium intelligence. So you should have get your book ready. If you don't have your book out, you can buy the book on Amazon. It's called Don't Panic, It's Organic. I'll tell you more about it in a little bit. So the numbers there's you can use the Zoom number to call, or you can call the 800 number 888-627-6008 or 323-744-4831. I'll let you know when you can call. So the first half of this workshop is videotaped, so there'll be no calls. The second half is going to be live, which means you'll be able to call me on any of the numbers I've set up here for you to call. The toll-free number, the 888-627-6008, or you can click on the Zoom meeting, which is 466-384-062 to get into the Zoom with us. And so the class is going to start right now. So this first class is called the Mycelium Intelligence. And it's for my Don't Panic, It's Organic online class. So every month we're going to have a different class. So this one's going to start on the soil. And so I'm going to be talking to you about the most important part of the soil. And I talk a lot about the soil. Like everything I do basically is helping you to key into the health and life of the soil. And so people say, well, what do you mean by soil? What is it in the soil? What is it that you need to make sure and most people don't think of the soil as being alive. And so that's what I've been trying to explain to everyone over the years, and how it really works, and how the key to a successful organic garden, or to solving any problems in the garden, whether it be diseases or pests, is the soil. And the soil it's I've learned to recognize it as a functioning living thing. It's just like in my body, I recognize there are lots of different functions, and these are alive. The heart is a living thing. My stomach, the different parts of my body, they all have different organisms in them. And uh, so I've learned that the soil it's a very similar. As a matter of fact, that's how we evolve. We evolve from the soil. By the way, these lessons are all also going to be available online to members. And before I get into the lesson too much, I want to make sure you understood that you need to be registered or a member in order to take the course, the classes. And the membership is free, and so you register so that way we don't have any problems with just people showing up and not understanding the course, or not being into the course at all. And in this way also too, as a member, I have set up other ways to communicate with you to help you deal with your individual gardening problems, and if you have any questions on the show, if you want to be on and be a part of it, that kind of stuff. So that's important for me. Okay, so but anyway, members will be able to get at these lessons up on the website. So the first lesson here is called the mycelium intelligence. I call it intelligence because it is an intelligent. It is very intelligent. I consider it the most intelligent being on the planet, okay? Humans are not really that intelligent when you think of how we are managing systems, right? What we are doing to the environment, what we're doing to the earth itself, what we've been doing to all the living things on this planet for a long time. As long as we've been on here, we've been managing to do nothing but destroy rather than build, than create. So the mycelium intelligence to me And I've discovered it because, well, as a gardener, as a arborist, as a earth scientist, I've developed into an earth scientist, but I realized that this we need to key into the soil, and what is in the soil that makes everything work together? What is it that functions? What is it? Is everybody working as one unit, or are we all separate and involved in different things? And so over the years, I started realizing it's a mycelium. And then there are, of course, other people doing the same thing in terms of helping people to understand what the mycelium is about. You've heard of the concept of the chain of life. We usually think about how one creature eats another animal, which then gets eaten by another creature, which in turn gets eaten by another until we get to us. We like to think of ourselves as the top of the chain, or are we? I we understand, that, but did you ever think about the beginning of the chain? I tell people that the mycelium is the beginning and the end of the chain. In the beginning, it's I say it's the beginning because we they were there here first. The mycelium was here first. The microbial life was here first. We evolved into what we are now from them. So that everything started with them. It took millions of years, but we have evolved. We decided to get up off the ground and move. And so that's how we evolved. There's a whole science about the microorganisms that live in our stomach. And you'll find that we have evolved from them. And that everything depends on the mycelium. And I've been teaching this for quite a long time and trying to get people to understand how the mycelium works and what the interconnection is all about. I call it the internet of the soil, and it's called the World Wide Web for many reasons, right? But the mycelium plays an important part in providing health and in providing trace minerals to everything. I mean, literally, you don't have to be a tree with the roots in the ground to be benefiting from the mycelium. If you think about it, because everything's connected, the insects have evolved around this whole cycle of health, being healthy and not being healthy. And when an insect attacks a tree, it attacks the tree because the tree is no longer, quote, healthy. It's missing, something's wrong, and the insects know it. You see, and so the mycelium plays an important part in how um, things develop and how the root systems of plants develop and how the mycelium colony develops and how the mycelium transforms minerals in a form that cannot be absorbed by the plants because the plants cannot eat rocks, nor can we eat rocks. You'll find lots of similarities in the way things are done because we have to eat something that has eaten. So we just can't eat rocks or rock dust. We can't eat the minerals, but we have to eat something that has eaten the minerals, which has absorbed the minerals and transformed the minerals into something that we can then uh, eat and absorb ourselves. And that's where the mycelium comes in, because with mycelium, the function of the mycelium is very simple. It's because it's a gardener. Think of it as a gardener. The mycelium is the world's greatest gardener. It's a gardener, and basically it wants to have the healthiest plants and the healthiest food available. And the way to get the healthiest plants and healthiest food is to feed them properly. And what they all need, what we all need, right? What all of us, all living things need is trace minerals in the proper proportion and the proper amounts. Without these trace minerals, we're going to start getting sick. We're going to start getting unhealthy. We will become a food source for insects. When I tell people when a bug is attacking a plant, it knows it's a food source. See, it doesn't have to say, well, I talk a lot about the last few shows. I think I did a show on bricks and how to use the refractometer and how bricks measures the level of sugar, but it also tells me the level of minerals. And why would I want to know a level of minerals? Because that's the key to all pests and diseases, including in humans, in animals and birds, whatever else. It's the trace mineral deficiency. And so the mycelium mine is a really very interesting mine because it's a very ancient being. And the way it works is that it's been around for millions and millions of years. And every plant has the roots intertwined with this mycelium. Plants' root systems look for the mycelium. And the mycelium has evolved into many different forms of mycelium, each handling specific tasks. It's also interesting too that the mycelium is around the world is different because there are different climates and different soil structures, so different types of mycelium specific for that environment. In other words, the plants grow up with a specific type of mycelium in their environment, which helps them to provide them the food and the minerals they need. And I did an article not too long ago about the fact that nowadays you go to somebody's home, you have plants that are from all different parts of the world, and they're growing in an environment that the mycelium is not there, that they're used to getting the food and the nutrients from. See what I'm saying? And so, like, for example, palm trees are not native to here, right? And there are lots of fruit trees that are not native to here. In their native country, the mycelium is a certain type of mycelium that they have evolved to get their nutrients from. Over here, they don't have that mycelium, so that's one reason why I get mycelium from all different sources and combine them together, and through that, the plants will get the nutrients that they need. Okay, so it's important for if you're doing a garden, you want to have the trace minerals. Where do you think you're going to get the trace minerals from? You, Many people, think, they well, let's just if it needs trace minerals, just put trace minerals down, and the trace minerals will magically get dissolved and transform into something that the plants can eat, or the plants would simply go through it, the soil, say, I'll take that minerals, I'll take that mineral, I'll take that minerals. It doesn't work that way. Some things, so the chemical forms of minerals, sometimes they make them so that it's easily assimilated by the plant. Unfortunately, it's not the same thing as assimilating minerals in the right proportions. Usually minerals become toxic. Minerals will become toxic if not in the trace proportion. So if you want to give it 5 pounds of calcium, and figuring, well, the more calcium it gets, sooner or later it's going to get the calcium it needs. It doesn't work that way. And that causes a lot more stress. It causes a lot more problems than fixes it. Okay, same thing with the human body. If you're lacking in iron, and you're not going to just go start drinking tons and tons of iron and expect your body to take all the iron it needs and pass through the iron and it won't bother you. Okay, and so the way the system has been set up, and that's what the mycelium do. And I learned a long time ago that the mushrooms tell you that the mycelium is present, right? Because the mushrooms, all different types of mushrooms from around the world, grow in the mycelium, and that's one of the things that I do on people's properties is to when I bring the soil back to life, the way I bring it back to life is by introducing mycelium, different forms of mycelium, and along with different forms of safe mushrooms. There are all different types of mushrooms from around the world. You can get there totally safe that will grow. That so when they start to grow, they help the mycelium. The mycelium helps the mushrooms. It tells me that the soil is alive. When the mushroom dies, it goes right back into the earth. It refeeds the soil, right? And it sets up a cycle because what you want is you want the mycelium to grow. You want to have a microbial colony there in the soil, right? And so it's a very interesting network. I call it a network because that's what it is. It's a it's a the mycelium sets up a network that allows not only the trees to communicate, but all plants and all living things are part of that network. Even if you're not physically connected, leads us to us because we're not physically connected, but yet we are part of that network. And we can therefore tune into that network and communicate back and forth. And you can. There are lots of different ways that you can communicate, quote, with nature, right? But in terms of being a good gardener, what we want to do is we want to uh, make an environment for the mycelium to grow in. Make an environment so that the mycelium will take over. See, so what you really want to do is set up a sustainable environment. Right now, it's not sustainable because the soil is constantly being attacked. And right now it's even worse because of the climate change. One of the problems that my customers are having here in Malibu is that the soil is dying, basically. It's becoming arid, it's becoming like a desert. Even in a desert, there are microorganisms living in there, but it's not the right type of microorganisms that we need for plants to grow in, right? And for the root systems to work through. So what's happening is that they're not paying attention. So people are calling me up and saying, Andy, I'm having a problem with this tree. What's wrong with it? Or I'm having a problem with my fruit, or the ants are attacking, and all this stuff. It's like, yeah, you're not doing anything that you should be doing over the time span that you've been on your property. Because the way it works is that in Mother Nature, and we have stopped a lot of that process recycling. We're really into recycling, but the greatest, the best, the most amazing recycler ever is Mother Nature. She knows how to take things and recycle them throughout the world. That's how they get the trace. That's how do you think the trace metals are spread out throughout the world, so that all living things get. That's why the soil. One of the things I talk about a lot is this, how important the soil is in this process of keeping the earth healthy, right? Now, keeping all living things healthy. How do you think trace minerals end up in the ocean, right? Or end up in the highest mountains? That's because Mother Nature has a way of recycling everything throughout the whole planet. But lately, and I say lately, I would say, well, last, what, 100 years? Since the human beings have been on this planet, we have managed to disrupt a major portion of that recycling process. Animals no longer travel the planet the way they used to, and that was one big part of the recycling process, when animals would eat stuff and it would and poo poo and die and go from one place to one. On the birds, the trillions and trillions of birds that would fly throughout the planet and go from one part of the planet to another part of the planet, and transfer minerals back and forth, right? That's no longer happening. And so we have pretty much, the way we've been cutting down the forests, right? The way we've been disrupting the life of the, whether it be the life of the ocean or the life of the soil or the life of the forest, right? We have destroyed and disrupted the uh, the 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 whole recycling process that's been going on in the with the earth that everything has evolved to with. There was a recent article I was reading about a person who was a photographer who used to go out into the woods, and he would take a picture, but throughout the years he also started taking recordings, and because he was amazed by the sound and everything. And he realized that they were all singing and doing it in harmony. All the different creatures were doing their different sounds, but it became one big song. But then throughout the years, he noticed that the sound was diminishing and diminishing. And then he had an illness. He was gone for about a year, and he came back, and the sound had gone. And the only sound left was the noise that human beings were making. So the bottom line is that we as human beings are not functioning as part of the system as a whole. We are destroying the whole for the benefit of the one. That's not such a good idea. And so what this workshop and this particular class today is to impress upon you that the soil is overall is a living structure, a living being that you should pay not only pay attention to, right, but we should stop destroying it, right? And start helping it to recover. Because the sooner we do that, the sooner us human beings and all living things on the planet will also start to recover. And this whole climate change thing, right? And this whole process is going on now. It's all it's all because of what we've been doing in a short period of time. In the past, there've always been warming periods. There's always been climate. There's always been an ice age. The recent one was called the medieval warming period, which was followed by the little ice age. And the medieval warming period was around the 14th something century, and it lasted 500 years. And it was the last 500 years. It was around towards the end of it was during George Washington's time, and it was also Napoleon's time. And Napoleon said about the worst winter they've ever had ever when they were having this war, this battle that they were doing. That was the little ice age, and the medieval warming period happened because the people started to expand in Europe and around the world, and they were starting to cut down major forest areas to expand, especially in Europe. But it was already happening. It was also expanded in different parts of the world, like China and other countries. They were also expanding their population. And they cut down their forest. And which is interesting because the amount that they cut down was nothing compared to the amount we're doing now and the damage we're doing now. So that took 500 years, what's going to happen is that we're going to get hotter faster and then eventually get colder faster, and it won't be long before we have to figure out what we're going to do. So that's why I've started this workshop, and the next class coming up, right, it's going to be on the organic gardening workshop, right? It's going to be your own vegetable organic gardening, and I'm going to be going through the whole process of building your raised beds, about compost and mulch. I'm going to cover weeds, right? And I'm also going to cover some type of I'll talk to you more about minerals and their relationship to pests and diseases, right? And so, so that's coming up next week. And remember, you need the book. You should have the book because we're going to go through the book. You get the book from Amazon, right? And as a member, you'll be able to access these shows up on the website. I'll set up a workshop page, which will have the videos up there for members only to get at, right? And so that's going to be the next week, okay? And then we still have, I think, another week after that for the month, So also too, coming up now is I'm going to do uh, open up the lines and see if anybody's there to ask any questions or talk to me. So that's what the setup I'm going to be doing for the workshops. The first half hour or so is going to be a taped session of the class for the class. The second portion of it, I'll either have a guest or I'll have people will be calling. So if you want to call, I gave out the numbers in the beginning there, but you can also just go to my website, click on radio show, and click on live show. This takes you to the station. Or you can go straight to the station, bbsradio.com/ don't panic, it's organic. That'll take you to my show here, and you'll be able to see the numbers there. And if you use Zoom, which I prefer you use Zoom, because Zoom will really make it real easier for us to talk to each other, just click on the Zoom button there. And so that's it for today. I'm getting ready to open up the phone lines for you to call. And I don't have a guest set up yet, but I will be setting up a guest and who I have to, who I believe will be a good part of the workshop, a good addition to the workshop. So if I had this together, I would have done it a long time ago. I've had some soil folks on here, which I will be doing the show again and expanding it and getting a little better at the presentation aspects of things. You see, because I just put this together rather rapidly, but my next class should be better, and so on. If you have any questions about the show, or if you want to talk a little bit more about mycelium, or if you have any other type of gardening questions, you can just email. There are several different ways I would like you communicate with me rather than just emailing me, because emailing me means I have to pull your email out of the email files when the emails I get, and I get a lot of email. The best way is to join members. As member, you get direct access to me, and I don't have to look for your emails, because they'll come right into my email box, and I have a way of set up to be able to communicate with each other, either through the website. The members will also get a newsletter, and the newsletter will uh, provide for them a direct access to me, so the emails come directly to me from my computers, which so it bypasses all the other setup and lets me know it's you, and you get to talk to me directly. Uh, and so the name of the book is called "Don't Panic, It's Organic." You get it from Amazon. Just type in "Invisible Gardener Books," and there you'll see "Don't Panic, It's Organic." And then you should get that. But as a member too, you also get the PDF version of "Don't Panic, It's Organic." And so you can go through that. You can read it that way too if you prefer. Right now, membership is free, so you don't have to pay anything to join, and the workshop is free. You don't have to pay anything at all. We like it. I want you to register so that we don't have any problem with the audience, and keep track of who the people are. I don't sell your information or anything, but the registration process is important. Uh, and so the the show is going to be on it. It's on every Saturday. So if you want to be on and have a question, if you have a question you want like to be on the show, the best process, as I explained before to several other people, because people have been trying to, for some reason, they've been trying to find me, but they have not been successful in locating how to communicate with me. And so they send me an email, and unfortunately, the emails are too many of them for me to pull them out to find your email amongst all the other ones. All right. And so that's what I explained before to everybody, that I've had a few people now who are still trying to get on the radio show, and they haven't figured out how to actually do that. Uh, and and so the I prefer that you uh, uh, join. If you join, then you automatically register for everything, and you automatically get the newsletter. Within the newsletter, right? Decided when you get the newsletter, it'll say, one of the things it'll say is that you have a question for Andy. You click on that button, and it will automatically bring up the email that will then, uh, when you click on, you put your question in there, and everything you send to me goes directly into my special box that I don't have to look for. That's the easiest way for me to find your information, to deal with you. However, if you don't want to do that, you can always just wing it and call. But if you call, you're not, I don't have the opportunity to do a little bit of research or thinking about the question and so on. But I can deal with that. So that's why I give out the phone numbers of the show, and I give them out at the beginning of the show. But all you have to do is go to either my website, right? And you'll see radio show up there. You click on it, it'll say live show. It takes you to the station. So when my show is live, it takes you to my show, and you'll see the numbers there. Or you can go to bbsradio.com/. Don't panic, it's organic. You'll see the shows up there. You can call. So that, remember, the first half hour of the show is taped, but you can call, and the engineer will say, "There's somebody here," and I'll let you. We can chat, and you can ask me your question then. And then when this tape version is over with, I'll be able to then answer your question. So that I could do that easy enough, and that's really not a problem. Okay. So just so you know, I got close to 10,000 emails the other day, and I'm going, for crying out loud. 90% of them are just junk emails. Somehow, my name is out there, and I should start getting stuff, and I have a hard time pulling you out from the email. And so a few people have gotten mad at me, Andy, you don't answer your emails. I tried to go through them as much as I can. So the other way to do it, if you don't want to join, you don't want to have anything to do with membership or any of that stuff, you just have a question and you want to answer it. If you go to the website, you'll see a form that says inquiry. It says inquiry. And you put your name in there, email, and there's a place where you can ask a question. Say, Andy, I heard the show, uh, and then I'll get it. There is one other way that people have been commenting commenting, and it's okay to do it that way, but there's a little problem with it. So basically, when I do a radio show, I used to post them on my website. I haven't done them in a little while. Probably get back to posting the radio shows up on my website, but the radio shows are posted up on YouTube is what I've been doing, and also of course the station has it posted up, and they're posted on Facebook. I had posted them on my website, but people were reading them everywhere else, and so I've gotten lazy and I haven't posted them up there. But at any rate, uh, when I do that, if you know, you can. There's a comment section that allows you to make a comment on the show. But usually people have been commenting about something else rather than the show, so I stopped doing that too. So I haven't figured out the best way to do that. The easiest way, again, the easiest way for you would be just to simply do the inquiry thing. I I think you should take advantage of the membership. 21 books you're going to get, PDF version of it, plus you'll have access to me for life. And I'll be around to help you with your gardening problems, and I'll be right there for you. Okay, so coming up is the the live version of the show where I'll be taking callers. If you want to call, if you have a question, it's just this would be a good time to call. If not, don't worry about it because I've done this show before, and if nobody calls, then I'll just keep talking. Right. So this is Andy Lopez, Invisible Gardener. I started my business in 1970, and I've been doing a radio show pretty much ever since then as well. And uh, I run a club. Normally, the membership is $20 for a lifetime for a digital membership, or $55 for a regular membership with the book. Usually, you'll get the latest version of the book, so it's a Don't Panic, It's Organic book. But right now, I'm doing the free membership. The digital membership is free, and I'm not doing the print version. I mean, I have the book, but I'm not doing the $55 membership version of it right now. I think it might be up there if you wanted to pay 55 and join and get the book. Uh, but I think I may have stopped that for a moment because see, you can get the book for 20 bucks and the membership is free, so you just shouldn't have to spend the 55. That's only available when I go back to charging for a regular membership, right? So it's normally $55. You get a $20 book, and the $35 for the lifetime membership. But that's for regular members. But I've changed it a little bit up there. So right now membership is free. So go up there, sign up. Uh, it's invisiblegardener.com, okay? And then you'll be able to access all this information and the workshops. So hang in there a second, and we're gonna switch over to a live show. Take care now. So again, the call-in numbers are for starters for Zoom, right? This you can click on it from their homepage, or you can call meeting number 466-384-062. That's for Zoom, right? Or you can call our 800 number here. The 800 number is 888-627-6008. Or you can use a direct number 323-744-4831 to talk to me. Okay? Ideally, you should email me first, but you can just call and talk, and I can wing it too, right?